Okay, this is an introductory video to get a basic understanding of how to begin uh, a character in the reality simulation, and a little bit about what the game objectives are and what it covers. You'll start the virtual business finance game by clicking on the orange circle with the red dollar sign in it, and when you do that, this screen will come up. So when this screen comes up the very first time, you want to choose new career or project. Now, if you've already played it once and you've saved your character, then you'll open the saved sim from your network drive or your ID. In this case, it's a new character, so I'll click New Career Project in a standard city. I'll get a couple messages here. I don't need to print anything, and I'll get rid of the message center. So here you get an overview of the city, and before we talk about anything that describes what you'll do to get started, this reality simulation looks at a number of things that someone will experience in their real life, including time management, health, finding a job, saving money, budgeting money, looking at apartments, renting apartments, insurance, buying a car, leasing a car, credit, shopping, balancing a checkbook, checking account, savings account, fixing credit when there are credit problems, pursuing a higher education, which allows you in the game to get a better job, using online banking. On a higher level, in the more time you spend with it, the more lessons learned. It examines what's necessary to pay and file taxes, introduction to investing, risk versus return, diversification, retirement, buying a home. So depending on how much time you can invest in this game, and in a marking period, we'll get through some of the initial basics like the time management, the budgeting, the saving, the banking, going to college, working, transportation. Get through some of those, and with extra time, when you advance to different levels, it gets into, like I said, the more advanced stuff, the investing, the risk return, insurance, and ultimately you can buy a home as opposed to rent in the game. So that's an overview of it, and this video is intended to do just that, give you an overview and then explain briefly how to get started. So this is the standard city, and if you move your mouse over something, it'll if it's active or you can do something there, it'll tell you what it does. You can see I'm moving over apartments right now. Different apartments are different prices per month, or the cost of rent is more or less depending on the neighborhood. Things like cars break down in this game. You can lose your job. You can get booted out of school. Those things happen if you're late too often. You can get robbed if you're in less desirable neighborhoods. You get robbed more, but you can more often you can buy insurance, renter's insurance against that. A goal will be to ultimately move out of those areas, and with education and job you can do that. So to take a look at the city real quick, not to explain everything, but these are the apartment buildings. The buildings with a silver roof, which you'll need initially, are banks, and in this video I'm going to talk about the money that you get in the beginning of this game, and opening a checking account, a savings account to deposit it, to get it out of your apartment. And lastly, we'll wrap up with scheduling or enrolling in college. And you can see I put my mouse over some of these buildings in the university park, so to speak. Up here there are different degrees that you can pursue. So the first thing will be to rent an apartment, and this game operates a lot by right-clicking. So I'll right-click and I'll enter the apartment first to take a look at it. All the apartments in the game look the same, so the standard floor plan is just that, and I'm going to go ahead and right click on it and rent apartment. When you click rent apartment, that really gets the game moving. So you'll need to name your character and pick an icon for it. And I recommend that you name your character your first name followed by the number 1. And there's some reasons that I'll get into later about that, but if you ever forget, and particularly when it comes to job applications, if you've ever forgot, I can help you, because I'll know that everyone called it the same name. Your name, first name with a capital letter followed by the number 1, no spaces or dashes. You can pick a character and then click OK. And this says congratulations, we got the apartment. And this is where the game really begins. If you can see the little H above the apartment, and if I go inside, there's my character, and here's the $5,000 that the game starts you with. Now, in real life, you wouldn't want to keep $5,000 sitting on a desk in your home, and the same is true for the game. So we want to open a checking and a savings, and we'll proportion about half into each. So I'll go out here, and you can look at the different banks, and some will offer you better rates of interest, or money that they'll pay you for keeping your money there. Other banks will charge you. I'm just going to right click on this bank. So you want to shop around. There are 3 banks. They have a silver roof. I'm going to go to open checking account. I'm going to put half of it, or $2,500, in a checking account, and that'll come along with a debit card, so you'll be able to use that to buy things. You won't have to write a check for everything. So there's that. If I were to go back in my apartment, the stack looks about the same, but notice there's only $2,500 there now. I want to go back to the same bank, and open a savings in case we ever need to move money from a savings to a checking. We have them both in the same bank. I'm going to deposit the remaining $2,500 in a savings account. Okay. You can always check your finances by going up here to the top where it says wealth. And right now we have the $5,000 that the game starts us with, and half in a checking and half in a savings account. If you look down here in the bottom right, you'll see your net worth is $5,000. Your net worth is really a summary of how much money or cash, liquid assets you have. Liquid meaning you could get the money if you needed it, versus the amount of debt you have. Right now there's no debt. We haven't bought a car or borrowed money for college, so we're at an even $5,000. One big element of this game is setting your schedule. And you'll need to eat for half an hour twice a day. You'll need to relax and exercise and sleep. And you can see the schedule is pretty open right now. One of the very first things is to set this schedule up before you really go and you get the game rolling. You can see the go button up here. You can see it's January 3rd, 2010, and the time isn't really moving. You don't want to hit the go button until you've kind of got a schedule set up, and we'll at least enroll in college now, so you can see how that works. If you click the snapshot, you can see you'll see some life indicators here. One is just my health, and the other is how much food I have. I haven't bought any food yet. You can do that by right-clicking on the refrigerator in your apartment. You can buy the food that way. Cars can be bought down here. Bus tokens can be bought over here. And I want to enroll in college so you can see how the schedule works. This is the one of the major points of this introductory video. So far I have rented an apartment, named my character, chose an icon for my character, and open up a checking and savings. Before I enroll in college, this is a good place, a good point to go to File and Save As, and you want to find your ID number, and you want to save this as your name with a 1 after it in your ID number. And you find your ID by clicking on My Computer, and then you'll find your ID number, and then just type your name and a 1 after it and hit save. So that's important part, so that when whatever work you get accomplished in the first day and each day, that you can come back and open your character up, so you won't hit new career project each time. It's only the first time. You only have to name your character once, and then you'll open a saved character. Okay. Lastly, for this video, the first part of this game is getting a schedule set up. And part of the schedule, in your schedule you'll need, if I click on this health button, you'll see you'll need to eat, sleep, exercise, and relax. As you move on to different levels, there will be different things that are required to keep you alive, so to speak. For instance, social life, that'll come into play in level 2. And level 2, you'll need to have a net worth of 25,000 to get there. But I'm getting ahead here. So if we look at this schedule, well, the first thing you want to do is enroll in college. The second thing would be to get a job. And initially, you can get a job doing two things. Since you don't have any education, or post-secondary at least, you can either deliver pizza, for which case you'll need a car, or you can work at a cashier. Many people are able to be enrolled in college and work 2, even 3 jobs, but you want to at least have college and a job, maybe 2. So here's how you schedule that. Let's just take a look here. Okay, here's a food service degree for let's see. Where's that food? Here's a food service degree, 13 weeks. There's web design for 26 weeks. That's a half a year. There's a medical degree for 208 weeks. So with each one of those, you'll be able to get a different type of position, increase your pay, although it does take some time to get through it, and you do have to borrow money. So I'm going to right-click now and enroll in web design. It's going to give me some criteria here with regard to the student loan. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to accept their payments, and it says congratulations, I've enrolled. Since it's my first activity, I'll need to choose a mode of transportation. The modes are foot, bus, and car. For right now, I'm going to choose bus. Although I will say, as a tip, if and when you buy a car, it will allow you to do a lot more things, because it will decrease your travel time by at least 50%, and give you other time to do other things within your schedule. So I'll click OK. You can see the S appear above the school. If I go into schedule, you can see that I now have sleep and education, and the little pink square represents the travel time by bus. One more last thing I'll do to wrap this up, because this was to show you how to set up a character and start working with your schedule, deposit money in your bank account. For instance, if you want to put a half hour for eating from, let's just say, 7 to 7:30, it's pretty simple. You'll go in here, you'll click on 7 a.m. you want to eat until 7:30 a.m. You click OK, and you'll see eat in your schedule. Now, this is good that this happened. This kind of creates a conflict. If you see how that pink overlaps the education time, that's going to be a conflict where I'm probably going to be late because they overlap, and I'll ultimately get a message. If you look down here next to where it says level 1, if you can see where my mouse is blinking, this is an area in the game where you're going to get urgent messages. For instance, you're out of food, or out of gas, or you're late, or a bill needs paid. You want to keep your eye on that part of the screen. Very important area to keep an eye on, and when something happens, you might want to pause your game and try to fix whatever it is, because you may only get warned once for one thing, and you could lose your character. They can die, and you don't want to restart a character, because you'll have to start from scratch, and you'll lose all the time you have invested. Although in the first week of this game, it's not uncommon for someone to have to restart a character, and that's fine. But as we progress and you have weeks invested, you'll want to avoid that. So if we look at this, you can change it. I could click on eat. If I don't want to eat there, if I want to do it a little bit earlier, I can get rid of it, and I'm going to eat from maybe 6 to 6:30. And let's see how that looked, because I had a conflict with regard to when I got to school or education with the bus. So if you take a look at it now, I have eating a little bit earlier, and the pink isn't overlapping education, so I wouldn't be late. That's a real quick look at how you begin to set up your schedule, but most importantly, how to really start the game, rent an apartment, name a character, go to the bank, open a checking and a savings account. Real important at that point, after you've done that, to save your character, and then you can begin to set up your schedule. You saw how to enroll in college. In another video, we'll look at how to apply for a job and get your schedule set up. This video should get you started and well on your way, at least for the first couple days of the class.